Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And this is the last of the normal videos, I suspect, of the day, of the long form videos. There may well be a few flashes, but this is the last of the big ones. And as you regular viewers do like to know, I like to make sure I finish on a light story, something you can go into the evening with. And I have a story here which kind of highlights the sheer ineptitude and stupidity of a certain group, that it will come to light who it is, because there is a council, and this council has made a mistake, a massive mistake, due to sheer incompetence, and it's cost so much money that will have to be paid for, of course, by taxpayers. And you have to think about how much services could have been saved, or by not doing what they've done. It is an astonishing failure, and I bet no one will lose their job. And yet this is exactly the sort of thing where someone should lose their job, or several someones should lose their job. Let's take a look. Now, I find this story astonishing as someone who's come from an accountancy background, 35 years an accountant. How on earth can this happen? The controls surely are in place that this should never happen. And for this to have happened shows an astonishing ineptness on an industrial scale. And if nobody loses their job, then you have to wonder who is covering up what. And there's got to be criminality in it. Anyway, an SNP-led council, because of course it is, rack up £860,000 bill, so getting on towards £1 million, for paying staff who have already left the organisation, people who don't work for them anymore, in beyond belief revelation. And this is definitely one that goes in that file marked "You couldn't make it up." Highland Council was rebuked by auditors after it was revealed that it had continued to pay over 500 members of staff after they left their roles, as officials did not keep track of current and former employees. Now, I wish to state at this point that is a legal obligation. If someone leaves, you have to give them their P45. That has to come from payroll. Now, payroll is either HR or it's accounts, or a mad mixture of the two. But somebody has to sort out their P45s. And that, at that point, must be the point you terminate their pay on the system. It's not the 1970s. You don't do handwritten books. You're not using Kalamazoo writing systems anymore. All you old accountants will know exactly what I mean. I started with Kalamazoo, and also I started in handwritten ledgers. But hey, since about the mid-80s, it's all been computerised. Anyway, this is stunningly bad, isn't it? Anyway, an SNP-led council wrongly spent almost £1 million of taxpayers' money by continuing to pay individuals after they left the organisation. A beyond belief auditor's report found that Highland Council made 602 payments to 593 people after they'd quit their roles, racking up a huge £863,000 bill. The report into its 2022-2023 found that the local authority is not checking to confirm the existence of its staff. The highest amount paid to one individual was £57,000 gross pay, or £42,000 net. Will they be going back to these people and asking for the money back? Because they'll find it very hard if the money's been spent. It's absolutely appalling. Now, what they need to do is find out who signed off on this and take the money out of them. Highland Council is the largest local government area in the UK and is governed by an SNP independent coalition with a Nationalist Council leader in Raymond Bremner. Bremner needs to carry the can. The latest cash confession will prove to be a further blow to the local authority, which has to cut 60 million from its budget due to constraints and the Scottish Government underfunding. And answer me this, good people. Why is it always the SNP? Why is all the worst mistakes? Why is all the biggest levels of stupidity always, without fail, the SNP? Is it because in order to join the party, you must be shown to be a complete retard? Because I certainly, to vote for them, I think that is the case. But to actually be a councillor, an MSP or an MP, it's more or less assured that you've got to be thick as two short planks and incapable of doing any kind of basic human simplistic thought. You must have the intelligence of a banana. Audit has discovered that there are currently no checks being done within the council to confirm the existence of its staff, and also blamed a failure by departments to provide timely information to HR or payroll for the significant overpayments. This means that some who left the organisation were overpaid. This never happened. This should never happen. Everyone who works has a manager. That manager must sign off. Whether attendance and absence, timekeeping, the lot, bang, goes across. I used to do payroll. I know. I've done payroll for hundreds. It's not hard. It's literally not hard to get it right. How can they get it so wrong? I'm literally lost for words. I'm not bigging myself up here, but I've done it for 35 years. I know it intimately. I know it backwards, in, out. I can do payroll. I've done this. I've done all sorts of accounts. I'm an accountant, for fuck's sake. And it isn't hard to get things right. You have controls in place. You have people responsible. They report, and they report upwards. Everyone ultimately reports upwards until the information comes in, and then it's presented, and then you run your payroll. Nobody gets paid if they don't work. In order to leave, they've got to have their P45, which deletes them from the payroll. And as opposed not keeping records, that's a legal requirement. Somebody in Highland Council has to lose their job. Anyway, management have responded and are actively reviewing this area with a target of March 2024 for completion of an investigation. And to date, the total number of payroll overpayments identified by the council is 602, with a value of 863,000. That's to date. You don't know. It could still be ongoing. It could be over £1 million by now. If no one's checking it and no one's put systems in place, who knows? I'm just mind blown with this. Anyway, other concerns raised by auditors were that the local authority issues more than 1,500 costly physical checks a year. Who the hell writes checks in this day and age? These amounted to payroll payments of approximately £1 million. When queried by auditors, they were advised that some staff do not have a bank account, or that the pay run occurs prior to a staff member being added to the system, or there's a timing difference. Okay, even so, you run it, you get the figure, you can just go in and do a direct debit. And anyone hired who does not have a bank account shouldn't be hired. If you don't have a bank account, there must be something suspect. Anyway, the auditors found that there was no evidence to suggest the council were reviewing these manual payments. What? They're not reviewing the manual payments. Nobody's signing off. Nobody is checking this. Wow. I should have got a job with Highland Council. I'm not kidding you. With my skills, I'd be a millionaire. I would take them to the cleaners, and nobody would ever know. It makes you wonder if that is exactly what is happening. I'm telling you now, that, from my little accountancy mind, I do have the mind of an accountant, but I have the soul of a creative. I don't. I have a soul of an accountant as well. But that to me strikes someone somewhere is using the... And I think fraud is not the word. Embezzlement. Someone is embezzling here. There is definitely that. It screams embezzlement. But heads have got to roll. And if there's no controls, find out who's in charge and fire them today. But why? There we go. Why is it always the SNP? Because they're all crooks and criminals. It wouldn't surprise me if it's deliberate. Anyway, I'm going to round up and come up. Now, I'm going to suggest that of all the people who watch this video, some of them will be accountants, bookkeepers, accounts clerks, something in accountancy and finance. And I bet all those people are also thinking the same as me. It's got to be deliberate and it's got to be embezzlement. No way that you don't have controls in place on an organisation like that unless it's a deliberate thing. And people are pretending that these are mistakes and people are siphoning money off. It's the only reason this happens. Because anyone going in as an honest accountant or an honest bookkeeper or anything like that would go in, an FD, an FC, even a financial controller, would see the lack of control and would do something about it. So this is somewhere along the line where they're not hiring those people, they're letting it go, they're getting someone, say, in HR, running this, someone who's not an accountant, to run this as an HR person rather than an accounts person, and they're just doing this because the HR person wouldn't necessarily know the accounts would or the controls that would need put in place, whereas someone from accounts would. And that's what I think is happening. And I think someone's done that deliberately and they are siphoning off. But it's always the SNP, isn't it? C'est la vie. I do hope the people who are under the auspices of Highland Council see what's going on and realise that their money is being wanked away at a ridiculous rate, and come the next council elections, vote elsewhere. Be nice. Anyway, I'm going to round off. Thank you very much. That's it for the day. There might be a few flash videos, but unless major story, that's it on the long forms. And so I will bid you adieu for now, and I will see you all bright and breezy and early tomorrow morning. Thank you and goodbye. You're all excellent people.